Hey everybody, it's John Lone King, and welcome to my next episode of From Profits to Properties, where I help you with business tactics to help you build more profits than you could ever imagine in your business. And then I also teach you how to take those profits and turn them into long-term wealth through real estate. Whether that be through buying your primary residence, through buying an investment property, or building a portfolio of multiple investment properties, I want to help be your guide to help you build your wealth from profits to properties. So today we're going to kick off with our next episode, and this one is about DIY or done for you. And it really comes down to, do I do it myself or do I have somebody else do it for me? And I think it's critical both in the arena of your business and in the arena of real estate, of understanding what parts you can and should do yourself and what parts you can and should hire a professional. Now, I will tell you, I get this wrong a lot. I think I can do more than I can. I also get it right a lot. And it's really about feeling it out and making a decision on what is best for you. There is no cut and dry rule about this. So I'm going to spend the first half talking about it from a professional standpoint in business, and then we're going to parlay into real estate. And the whole concept also applies in real estate. And I'm going to talk a lot about that in the second half of this episode. So the first thing is time, talent, and tools are the three most important parts of trying to do something on your own. Time, talent, and tools. So time. Do I have the time to dedicate to this? And is my time best spent doing that? Is there someone else who could do it better? Because this is low dollar per hour productive activities. So could you do something? Could you spend your time working on that particular task versus hiring somebody else? Maybe. But is it worth your time? So not just do I have the time, but is it the best use of my time that you need to be thinking about? So you've got to consider, what are the alternatives? What is the opportunity cost? So I might, for example, in my industry, one of my roles is issuing loan disclosures to my clients. So do I have the time to create the loan disclosures and issue them myself? Yes. But is that the best use of my time? Could I hire and train somebody to do that, or outsource that so that I can spend my time on higher dollar per hour productive items? And so that's an important thing to think about in business, especially when you're a small business and it's hard to decide, hey, which of these things in my business should I be outsourcing versus which of these things should I be doing myself? And a key piece of that is these three steps: time, talent, and tools. So talent is the second piece. We covered time, and it's about highest and best use of your time. Talent. Do I have the skill set necessary? Now, just because I have the skill set necessary doesn't mean I should be the one doing it. I am a huge advocate of understanding intimately how to do something before I delegate it to somebody else. Now, maybe that's the micromanager in me. Maybe that's me trying to make sure that nothing goes wrong. But I think that's, to me, a very important skill set, is understanding the job intimately that I'm asking somebody else to do, so that when I ask them to do it, I can give them proper instructions. But then I have to remember that to not be a micromanager means I need to manage outcomes, not the process. Too many people, including myself, have spent time managing the process. That's not how I would do it. I would do steps 1, 3, and 5 first, and then go back and do steps 2 and 4. But that's micromanagement. If you have an understanding of how it's supposed to get done and what the final outcome is, then manage to the final outcome. Don't manage the process. But even if you have the talent to do something, does not mean you're the one that should be doing it. But if you don't have the talent to do it, and it's not something worthwhile for you to learn how to do, then by all means, delegate it out, hire somebody else to do it instead of doing it yourself. And then the final piece is the tools. Do I have the tools necessary to take on this task? Now, tools might be the software. Maybe I can buy the piece of software that's going to do that, but how often am I going to use it? Is it worth it for me to invest in the software that I'm going to use once or twice a month, or hire someone who already has that software and they can afford it because they use it 30 times a month, and they can charge me a fraction of the cost because they're spreading that software across all of the clients that they're serving? And so it's important to understand that tools is a critical piece. It's like building something at home. It's like I'll give you a great example. I installed my own crown molding at a house I owned, I don't know, a dozen years ago. Okay, my kids were little, and I thought it was a great project, and I put up all the crown molding, and I was very proud of myself in putting up the crown molding. Now, that was a task I decided as DIY. At the time, mortgage industry wasn't doing so great. I had a little bit more free time on my hands. And I thought, you know what, I can invest in growing my value of my home, making it look nicer for my family. And I got a huge sense of accomplishment doing it. So did I have the time? Yeah, I had the time. Did I have the talent? Yeah, I mean, I'm a smart guy. I can buy a book. I can figure it out. But did I have, and watch a YouTube video? But did I have the tools? So I had to buy a fair number of tools to do this. Now I have a compound miter saw in my garage that I haven't used in years. I justified not paying someone else to do it because it would cost me less, even with the cost of the tools, than what it would cost to hire somebody else, which is a true statement. But since then, I've owned 2 other houses and I've had crown molding installed in both of the other houses, and I hired somebody else to do it. Now, I had the tools in the garage. I had the compound miter saw, which made it cheaper for me to do the crown molding myself the second and third time than it was the first time. Yet the second and third time, and by the way, I had the talent because I had done it myself, but it was clear that I didn't have the time. A dollar productive activity. It was not worth my time. I was busy doing other things. I wanted to get it done. And so I delegated it out. I hired somebody else to do the work for me. And so that's a big part of the decision that you have to make is time, talent, and tools. And just because you have some of those things, just because you have all of those things, doesn't mean you're the one that should be doing it. But the opposite is also true. Sometimes you don't necessarily, you might have the time, but you don't necessarily have the talent or the tools, but you can learn it. And maybe that's a skill set that's worth learning. Now, I have another example where we actually embarked on doing our own Google advertising. I thought, you know what? It's a good opportunity for me to get some more advertising out there, to pay for keyword searches. I've seen people do it. I've seen it fail more often than it's succeeded, but we're in a place right now where my business is growing, got a good amount of profitability, and there's some programs out there that I think I can get some good results by advertising those programs. Now, I know people in the advertising industry who can do all of this for me from start to finish, but I thought, you know, I have team members on my team that they could do it, and it would cost me a lot less because I already have them on board. And so between AI and YouTube videos, my team started and they finished, and we had great results on a Google ad. Until this morning, when I get an email from Google saying that I've got a violation, that I violated their policy, and that my Google Ads account's been permanently suspended. Okay. Now, it gave me a appeals process, and I'm in the process of figuring out how to appeal it. But I kind of started rethinking, man, was this the right decision? Because we're stumbling through it. We had no idea what the rules are from Google, and I must have stepped on a tripwire. I must have done something inadvertently that created a problem with Google that now, from everything that I'm reading, says Google might ban me for life from doing advertising. That's a pretty high cost for trying to save a little bit of money on doing something on my own. So it's really important to understand that the cost may be something you can't even foresee. And so there are times when you start dabbling into something and you might decide, you know what, maybe now I should pull back. Maybe now I should bring in an expert. I've proven that it works. I just need to make this work better, and I need to make sure that I'm efficient and effective at what I'm doing, and hiring a professional will help me make that happen. And so it's really hard, especially for someone like me. I'm a type A, high driver, want to make sure I get everything done. And I also like to manage my expenses. I like to keep my costs down as much as I can. So if I can do it in-house, I'd much rather do that than to hire a professional outside to get the work done. Now, that's paid very, very high dividends for me in the long run over the years. But there's been times when it's cost me dearly. I might be in one of those times right now where it's cost me. So I want to give you that as a lesson. I want to give you that as food for thought to say, hey, sometimes even when you do have the time, talent, and tools to do it, or you're willing to invest the time to create the talent and then buy the tools, it still may not be the best option. So be careful as you decide which things you want to DIY versus have done for you, because it's critical, because that decision could have long-term impacts on your business. Hey, stick around after this quick commercial break. I'm going to talk to you more about DIY versus done for you and how that applies to owning real estate. Talk to you all in a minute. Everything we hear about today is AI this, AI that. What does it mean to you, and how do you use it to grow your business? I want to help be your source to guide you down that road. So every single month, first Thursday of the month, I'm going to be doing a webinar talking about AI tools and how to use it in your professional life. This is for realtors, this is for business people, this is for anybody who wants to use it professionally and get a feel for what are the ways that I can use it in my business. So if you want to join me, scan this QR code up here. You'll find out about the next webinar that's coming up, and you'll get registered to receive information on future webinars down the road. I'm looking forward to help share with you what I'm learning and help you along the journey so that you can learn how to use AI to help grow your business. Hey, welcome back. So let's talk about DIY versus done for you when it comes to investing in real estate. So first and foremost, compared to business decisions, investing in real estate, the cost is significantly higher if you get it wrong. Okay, if you're running a business like I talked about in the first segment of this podcast, you can iterate, you can make a little mistake here and make up for it with something over there. You buy the wrong property for the wrong price and the wrong condition, and it could really sink you long term. And so you have to really think about it differently, or at least I think about it differently. When it comes to investing in real estate, your first deals you do need the most handholding. Over time, the more you do it, the more you see, the more you can consider DIY. Now, DIY comes in a lot of different variants, comes in a lot of different variables. So first of all, if you're just buying a home as somewhere for you to live, you're not going to do that very often. And I strongly suggest that you use a professional team that gives you a high level of service throughout the entire process. That's a great lender like me and a great real estate agent who's going to help you through the process. Can you go out and search for properties on your own? Sure you can. Can you work directly with the listing agent, hoping you can get a better deal? Sure you can. But in that situation, you've got to be more cautious and careful that you're getting the right information because you're trying to trust someone who's actually representing both sides of the transaction. And therefore, they literally can't tell you everything and focus only on your best interest because they're legally also obligated to do the same for the other party. It's impossible for somebody to do that. Now, if you know what you're looking for, if you know how to protect your best interest because you've done this multiple times or you've been in the industry, maybe that's a strategy. But if this is your first home or you haven't done it in a long time, trying to follow that kind of a strategy to save a little bit of money could cost you a lot more money in the long run. Now, another area where it matters is people who are looking to buy fixer-uppers. And you say, hey, I'm handy. I can do work myself. Maybe you can. But are you really ready to put in all of the time, the talent, and the tools necessary to get the job done? Earlier in the podcast, I talked about me doing the work on my house and building or installing crown molding. And that's a good example of something, I can do that myself. But when you start tearing down walls, you start doing a lot of work, not only do you have the things that could go wrong with that, but you also have the very real focus on, hey, wait a second, where am I going to put my time when it comes to me doing my paying job versus me doing this project? Okay, if you're a project person, I'm not a project person, but if you're a project person, a lot of my friends, they have a project car that's in their driveway that I'm going to work on this in my free time. You know how long a project car sits in your driveway? But a lot of you are smiling right now because you might have one in your driveway or in your garage. Yeah, that's my project. But you've got your real job and your real priorities that get in the way of the project that you're trying to work on. Now take that and multiply it by 10 or 100 because that project is a home. And that home is sitting there waiting because it can't be rented out, or you can't move into it until this work is done, or you can't get the full enjoyment of it. So it can be a very, very high cost by you trying to do it yourself. And so in a lot of ways, hiring a professional to do the work on a home that you are buying is way better than trying to do it yourself. Now, I understand if you're buying a home that you're going to live in and I'm going to get a little bit of work here done and a little bit of work there done over the years, that's great. You're unlikely to do much of it. Most people are not going to get the work done until they're ready to sell the home. And then and only then will they make the home that they actually wanted from day one. And the saddest part of that is the chances of you finding a buyer who actually wants the same things that you wanted are slim to none. So you're finally going to make the house that you wanted just so that somebody else can buy it and have the dream to change it to the house that they want and never do it until they're ready to sell the home. And they don't get the true benefit of enjoying what you wanted, nor do they get the benefit of enjoying what they wanted because you made it your perfect home when you had no time left to enjoy it. And they bought a home that was imperfect to them, but you thought they're going to love it because I love it. And I wanted this all the time. I've wanted this since I bought the house. And so I'm going to do this work now to make it perfect for my next buyer. It's a vicious cycle. So I strongly recommend if you have a vision of a home, especially if it's a primary home, look at actually building in the cost of renovation into your purchase. Renovation loans are very underutilized. They offer a huge opportunity for you to just add a little bit to your monthly payment, and they get all the work done that you want to have done by a qualified professional, done very, very quickly after you close escrow, so that you have the home that you want when you move in. Instead of having a home that is kind of what I want, and there's a vision or there's a dream, but I'm going to do it myself over time, because you end up never, ever getting to it, never getting the work done. And so when it comes to DIY versus done for you, yes, there's a significantly higher cost when it comes to done for you, especially when it comes to project work around the house, but it's going to get done. And so it's about budgeting for it. And the best time to budget for it is upfront. Now, if you're already putting a large down payment, maybe you put less as a down payment. You pay a little bit higher monthly payment, but now you have that chunk of money. That's what my wife and I did when we bought the house that we're in right now. We put less down than what we got from the sale of our house, and then we just financed more money over the life of the loan. But now we had the money to do the remodeling of the kitchen, to do other work that we wanted to do around the house, remodel the other bathrooms in the house. We did a lot of work in the house because we planned for it right away. So we made the house we wanted at the time that we bought it, instead of waiting until sometime in the future when I can either do the work myself or afford to pay somebody else to do it. And instead, I just had a little bit higher monthly payment over the life of the loan. Now, if you don't have a big down payment, then you can build that in as a renovation loan. The renovation loans are hard to come by on investment properties, although if you're doing a true flip property, you can do what's called a hard money loan, and that might be a good option as well. But that lets you build either one, renovation loan on primary homes or a hard money loan, lets you build in the cost of renovation into the financing, so you're not writing a check for it out of pocket. There's lots of ways to look at this, and I just want to scratch the surface and give you some ideas of how to think about DIY versus done for you when it comes to your business and when it comes to real estate. Really appreciate you listening today. Hopefully you've got good value out of this. If you have any questions, please reach out. I would love the opportunity to take great care of you, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you like what you've listened to, please share with everybody that you know. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And most importantly, please leave a review on whatever platform you're watching from so that we can get more visibility. Really appreciate you, and hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. Bye-bye.